So if if this isn't happening, wouldn't it be a golden opportunity for the left to say, listen, all Trump and his cronies are barking up the wrong tree. None of this stuff is happening. We will prove to you that it's not happening because here's all the books, here's all the figures, here's everything. It's a golden opportunity for them to do that, and they're not doing that. Doesn't that tell you something about what's going on over there?
Are you talking about they're currently auditing all that shit?
Say it's fake. When there's proof of things, they'll say it's fake. I got a question. When you talked about him coming down the escalator, has it ever, at one point in time, ever crossed your mind that maybe Trump is like a fool and is an idiot and isn't worthy of being president and makes bad decisions and is a con man? Like, has that never been a thought in your mind? Never, not once. No. Despite Gibbs, I'm sorry, I can't take your word for what you say because of how you misrepresented stuff in our last debate. So is this the same? You're talking about the same AG that has said he announced that Medicaid Fraud Control Unit has charged Muhammad, can't pronounce that, with 8 counts of felony theft by false representation. So the same AG that is catching people for fraud is saying that he's not trying to investigate fraud. Is that what you're saying?
So you don't believe a congressional hearing? You believe your own
You
facts
didn't even answer my question. You asked me a question, but didn't answer mine.
Once again, I would like to point out.
You know what I'm saying? Drop a like, leave a comment, let me know you're in here. We finna have fun tonight.
Actually went to the restroom that fast. God, I'm so jealous of men at this rate. Like, you just go and just like whip it out, piss. You could go piss literally. You could be pissing in a bottle right now underneath your desk for all we know. And like nobody would ever know.
Well, so can you.
It would be a little harder for me to do that. Like I would have to like really squat, you know.
Need a wide mouth bottle is what you need. Yeah.
I would have to like be off the seat, like awkwardly peeing. You know what I mean? There would be definitely some noise to that one. Welcome back, Logics. Thanks for joining in. I know I tagged you earlier and I said all my lefties to the front. Jason back. I'm sure Jason's here to get in some fights. He's been having some fun since we broke his cherry on panels, and now he's addicted wholeheartedly. Animated effigy, of course. I could not let you sit and talk shit in the chat and not join the panel for some fun. And Andrew, I think you've been here once before, maybe.
Nope.
You look familiar. Where have I seen you?
I was on last night on another for the first time. I was watching last night, lurking, and you answered a couple of my questions. And my picture came up. I was on another channel.
Oh, okay. Well, wonderful.
Yep.
Oh, midlife.
Yeah.
Is that you?
That was me from last night. Yeah.
You made it then. I'm really excited.
Yes.
I'm disappointed because Alex Kirsch Project has not made his way up to the panel. Somebody message that little bitch and tell him to come talk his shit up on this stage. He said he wanted to be here for this one. I expect nothing less. All right. Logix, you were backstage waiting patiently, first in line. I'll give it over to you if you want to open up with anything to Gibbs.
Okay.
Go for it.
Yeah, so Sarah, I did come because I saw you tagged me, and I was actually streaming, so I have not heard everything that Gibbs was saying. I heard some. What's going on, Gibbs? Haven't since last time. How you been?
Good, Papa. How you doing? You doing well?
So I did see the beginning of what he said, kind of the intro, and I was streaming, and then I just came. Is it echo?
Oop. Yep, I got it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I kind of heard the ending before you brought us up, of course. So Gibbs, let me just understand before we get into it. Is your claim that Democrats as an organization are responsible for fraud and they should be held responsible for it? They are responsible.
I'm basically saying that they're pulling Tammany Hall, but at a national level. Like, they are enabling fraud in order to benefit financially and politically, and they should be held accountable for it.
And what's your strongest proof of that?
Well, I mean, I think the Somali fraud right now is excellent. We can see direct ties Two people, I think Ilya Omar is one of them, but we see them direct ties with companies that have been given money, some of them that don't even exist. We have direct ties, them donating to the Democratic Party. So we have basically the party receiving money that was put in place by them to fund a group of protected people, and then it's going to Democratic candidates after it's going to these people who are taking fraudulent chunks in places where businesses don't even exist. And I think that is a pure, like, prime example. And then on top of that, not only does the Democratic Party know this is happening, but Tim Walz was the VP candidate. And so they have institutionalized the fraud and corruption in order to stay in power. And that's why they have things like no voter ID. That's why we're seeing the ties to the illegals. That's why we see them wanting to bring people in. That's why the welfare is going to them. And that's why it's coming back through NGOs and them and all sorts of other different ways.
Okay, like almost all of that is like speculation, right? It's mostly speculation as far as, even if let's say I granted you that people that are getting money are giving it back to Democrats. That's not proof of Democrats engaging in fraud, correct? Like, that doesn't necessarily mean that, right? Even if I granted you it.
If you're a business and they're giving the money to the business through like government giving it to them, yeah, I would say that is, and they're getting the money back. I guess if there's some, hypothetical, like perfect Jesus Democrat that's just running on idealism and doesn't know that their campaign is getting funded by this, sure. But whenever you turn around and they, like last week, put forth a bill to protect the money that's going to these illegals, and they've sat here and dismissed prosecutors that have been, and other people that have looked into this, then yeah, I would say no, it's not just like they don't know. It's that their AG has even said, don't investigate this because the money comes back to candidates. So no, I think that they know, and I don't think it's just some innocent coincidence.
And who's at the top of this whole chain? Who's at the top of this pyramid?
Well, I don't know. That's a good question, but
so
I'll tell you what, I think that Walz is in on it. I think that Omar's in on it. They're both leaders in their party. So that implies to me that the leadership, or at least a significant portion of the leadership, would have this money. And this is a complaint that people have made a long time, and people laugh at them, call conspiracy theorists, call it the deep state. When I'm talking about the deep state, I'm not talking about the lizard people and their little secret cabal or the Illuminati. I'm talking about the party has come together and they put in place mechanisms such as giving money to illegals, having protected classes, bringing these people in mass, and then turn around and giving money to places that don't even exist, which turn around and give money to the Democratic Party after it's been allocated once they're in power. I think, yeah, it's insidious and duplicitous and disgusting.
Okay. No, I see. Gibbs,
go ahead.
I think the problem is that a lot of us actually have memories, and we remember that we already went through this in 2019, and that most of the statistics that most of the things that people are talking about was the shit that the Democratic governor and Democratic people at that time found, like the $5 to $6 million in fraud that they convicted of the daycares that were doing what you guys said now we're doing then. Like, all this has already happened.
It's almost
well, no,
like
that's the thing. Like, when Nick Shirley went to a daycare and pointed at it as proof, and it was actually closed down, it was because it was closed down way back then when they actually already found the fraud. You guys are rehashing old things that have already happened and saying that it's happening now and without any proof, and you're swallowing any allegation without the least bit of proof. I think the best evidence to prove that is the suitcase thing that you guys all seem to be passing around, which is actually a mix of three completely different stories. Somalia has no actual banking system. It's a failed state. So they have what they call the Hawala system of couriers who curry large amounts of money officially into people who are still trying to run things in Somalia. That they've had investigations. It's so easy just to look shit up. They've had investigations into the large amounts of money.
Hey, Evan, quick question. Is this the same brilliant mind that thinks California is the largest state and the 8th largest GDP? Just
California
wondering.
has the largest population, doesn't it?
You said largest state. You didn't say largest population.
That's what when I say largest state, I say largest population.
They're not the 8th largest GDP. They're the 4th. If you knew anything, you would have known that, but you don't know anything.
Andrew, I'll give you an opportunity.
Well, I want to touch what he said real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to go on record. The political prophet, Admiral Gibbs, right again. I nailed their first two. I nailed his first two talking points, which was going to be, we're going to talk about, this low hanging fruit that they got and they couldn't ignore, and they're going to say, hey, that's proof. When it's like $6 million. Wow, you found 6 million out of 9 billion. That's a terrible percentage. It's real bad. I don't want to do the math.
Well,
but
the worst
it's
Like bad as Doge? Was it bad?
million,
Is it as bad as
saying
Doge's
it's
numbers? Is it as bad as
Admiral
Doge's
Gibbs.
numbers?
Doge is finding lots of fraud, and they continue to find
I
stuff.
thought
Hey,
Doge
Admiral
didn't exist
Gibbs.
Hold on,
anymore.
it's more than what these guys are
Does
claiming.
Doge even
$6
exist
million, I'll tell you
anymore?
that. I mean, I listed one example of Doge that was several $1 billion alone, right? Correction, it was 2.7 billion was what the total was for the center here in San Antonio.
What was the goal?
I looked it up while we were talking.
Hey,
And they
Gibbs.
found it. They found the fraud, and so that's more. I don't know if you do the math. 2.7 billion is bigger than 6 million.
What was
So,
the
I guess
goal?
Doge has already accomplished more.
What was the goal?
Hey, Gibbs. I was watching a Senate hearing the other day where they had Democratic members of the Minnesota, basically members of the Minnesota House or whatever, testify in front of Congress, so sworn to oath that they had whistleblowers who have tried to call out the fraud for the last 5 or 6 years, and every time they do, Tim Walz and Keith Ellison threaten to end their careers if they do it.
That's true. That's true. And as for the suitcase claim, this is according to Fox News. No, that's the wrong one. This is according to Fox News. They have the authorities arrested people, several Somalians with $700K in their briefcases on the way out. I think that there's enough proof now to claim that at least some of this is happening whenever we have arrests being made in progress of it happening.
But it's all made up, Gibbs. I mean, it's on our
Come
minds.
on. Just last night, Sarah was reading from a story that was being passed around on one of those trash ass fake news channels where they were saying that someone smuggled $700 million at one time through an airport. When
And I do want to
pounds of money.
Interrupt on behalf of, I believe this is over on Mr. Balderson's side. Tom Carpenter sends a big hundo and says, heard you had it rough for a while last night. Had already hit my cap. Hope this gets you a nice night out. That was so thoughtful. Benjamin, I will allow the floor if you would like to say anything to Mr. Tom Carpenter.
Thank you very much, Tom. That is absolutely huge. We have had a horrible year. It's been rough here in California. My wife wants to say thank you too.
I also want to say thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's certainly not anything we expect, but it's very much appreciated.
Oh, I love this.
Miss Balderson and Ben are good people.
They're such good people. I couldn't find another couple that's more deserving of your kindness. Thank you so much. Tomatoes in the chat from wherever you're watching from, please, on behalf of Tom Carpenter, putting my favorite color up on the screen and to a good cause. I love that. All right. Go ahead. If you want, I wanted to allow Andrew, since he is new to the panel, we're popping his cherry here tonight. If you wanted to add in on anything, if not, I can pass the mic over, but I wanted to at least give you an opportunity.
Well, thanks for letting me be here. It's the first time, I guess, that I've stumbled onto your channel last night, and I'm glad I did. And so I wanted to join the panel this evening. I guess carrying on with this whole conversation of the fraud, lack of a better term, I don't understand why people are defending this and not wanting to help get to the bottom of it. Okay, let's say that you're right, and it's a big nothing burger. Why is it so hard for the Democrats to, why do they want to block it from any kind of investigation? If they are completely innocent of it, wouldn't they want to say, all right, let's jump in, let's get to the bottom of this so we can prove to you that we're not behind it?
That's a most excellent point. Lefties, what do you think?
Nobody's blocking actual fraud. Like, what do you say?
I'm not saying they're blocking the fraud.
Well, I'm sorry, investigating fraud. I'm sorry, I meant
they are doing that. They are doing that.
We have on these businesses since 2025.
They're doing everything they can to block it.
It's become a thing at this point.
No, this is not true at all. This is a lie. We have on record in Congress, Minnesota Rep. Marion Rarick says that if any whistles, this is what Minnesota's rep says any whistles that came forward exposed fraud, Democrats would make sure they lost their jobs, their homes, they'd be blacklisted from new jobs, they would track their children. Retaliation has escalated. Now you're going to lose your job, lose your home. We're going to track your children. We're going to make sure that you can't get a job anywhere else in the state government. And for Minnesota, can't get a job anywhere that Democrats control. Then I have another quote.
Wait,
this is actually on. Hold on, one more.
I
This
heard
is
it. I
actually
heard it
on
too. I
tape.
was watching it too.
On tape, we have the Attorney General Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison on tape recording. I took a meeting in good faith, didn't know some things, yada yada. Hold on, we'll get an important quote. He said basically we can't look into fraud because it's going to hurt us with the voters, and some Democrats are receiving money from them. So we have two institutionalized people saying this is happening. So either you know more than these people or you're lying.
Gibbs, they also had Tim Walz's daughter on an interview the day after he dropped out of the race. Or no, the day of he dropped out of the race, that afternoon, say the pressure was getting to my dad. He just couldn't take it anymore. We all knew what we had to do. That's why he's dropping out. Talking about the fraud.
Wait,
here's the exact quote.
This pressure, but he was wanting to be the vice president of the United States? Really? Wow.
Yeah, the exact quote. Sorry, the only way that we can protect what we have is by asserting ourselves into the political arena, putting our votes where it needs to be, and most importantly, putting our dollars in the right place and supporting candidates who fight for our interests. You can only protect our interests, and then this is A.G. Ellison. That's right. And he goes that you can only protect our interests when we have your back, and you don't have to worry about who is behind you in reference to the fraud.
Gibbs, I'm sorry. I can't take your word for what you say because of how you misrepresented stuff in our last debate. So is this the same? You're talking about the same AG that has said he announced that Medicaid Fraud Control Unit has charged Muhammad, can't pronounce that, with 8 counts of felony theft by false representation. So the same AG that is catching people for fraud is saying that he's not trying to investigate fraud. Is that what you're saying?
So you don't believe a congressional hearing, you believe your own
You
facts
didn't even answer my question. You asked me a question but didn't answer mine.
Once again, I would like to point out that I am a psychic, and I preempted another argument here when I said that this is exactly what they would do, and they would pick one little small example where they caught the dumbest criminal.
When it refutes you? How come if it goes
against
what you say is small?
It proves exactly what I said. Is y'all are going to have one person on a sacrificial lamb and go, this worst investigating.
It's the same person.
And then we sit here. It's just like when y'all told us the illegals weren't coming, and then we shipped them to Martha's Vineyard.
It's the same person.
Problem. Because
it's not
he's
a sacrificial lamb.
He's saying we're going to get the low hanging fruit while we protect the big donors. That's literally what he's doing. We have him on recording saying this. It's on recording. And we have congressional people saying this is happening. You're either telling me you just are willfully choosing not to believe this because I don't want to be proven wrong, or you're just being an idiot. I don't really know.
You read a quote that I'm not taking at face value. That's what happened. You didn't prove anything.
It's a quote from a congressional hearing, you moron.
You moron. It wasn't given context. He just said something he said. I don't know what happened around that. I'm not even saying he's lying. I'm not even saying that.
You just said he was lying.
You guys give a shit about
But you don't even deserve to be up here if you can't even remember what you said 5 seconds ago.
Not only that.
This is more fun than I thought it would be.
Not only that.
It's just amazing.
Just
how
be
I can
honest
say
about the fact that this same AG that you're saying is not trying to investigate fraud did. But when he does it, it doesn't matter because it doesn't help your narrative, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's just so crazy that I said literally verbatim what was going to happen.
He said this last time. He's not going to give an answer.
No offense. I know you missed a portion of this, but I think that is important because you must have missed the part where I addressed this in the show earlier.
I said I wasn't here for your part earlier.
I know you weren't. So I'll just re-over. I literally, before you came on, so this makes me even happier because if you didn't even watch this, it makes it even crazier that I verbatim went through this exact situation that you're talking about. And then it said how it shows that they're not actually investigating fraud. They only went and investigated the lowest hanging fruit that was going to get caught anyway. And then they use this over and over as their example and go, look, we found 6 million when we find out there's between about 9 billion being done.
So
6 million and 9 billion is what percentage? Tell me to do the math and tell me because I don't want to pull up a calculator.
I'm not a math
person.
So basically what you're saying is no matter what I say, I'm always right because I'm always going to pick out of every basket, right?
No, we're saying facts are right. We don't go off our feelings like the dumb
Jason, I got you. Jason, I'm not going to be long, I promise. So when they're not investigating fraud, but when they do investigate fraud, it's not good enough, so I'm not going to count it. That's what your stance is. Cool.
I gave you two like quotes, one from their AG basically admitting that he was letting it go, and two, I gave another quote from a Minnesota rep at a congressional hearing where she sat here was talking about this specific thing. That's the context where they have the whistleblowers. We also have the example of the whistleblower that got fired the day before he went to Congress, which is literally a thing that happened. We have all sorts of other examples, and like, yeah, you want to go, those examples don't count, but this one example of them getting.
I didn't say it don't count. I just don't take your word for it.
Hey, Gibbs. I mean, Keith Ellison said it ain't true, so it ain't true because Keith Ellison said so.
I wanted to open it up and see if obstacles. Did you want to take an opportunity to chime in and maybe reset the panel?
You trying to give me that job to reset the panel? I mean, come on, man. What kind of job is that? Of course, we got two individuals in the panel that just think different. For me, I just come from a logical standpoint, whether it be Republicans or Democrats. Each side is going to deny some level of fraud, maybe because they don't interpret it as fraud, maybe because it also is kind of a thin line or a gray area between fraud and misuse or abuse or just inefficiencies. But shout out to Doge, which did save $215 billion. But then watch the goalpost gets moved. What were they supposed to do? It's not $1 trillion. See, they suck. And so at the end of the day, it's a complex thing to peel back. Go ahead, Logic. I see you had to say
the same strategy.
So go ahead.
No, I'm not. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
But you did. You see. But it's cool. I'm just showing that you did. Now it's cool. Don't worry about it. It's all good. We're not Jordan Peterson or anything, right?
Obstacles. I'm glad to be on panel with you. I watched you before I started coming up on Sarah's panels, and I'm glad to be on panel with you. Obstacles. You always talk. You always talk common sense.
Yeah, and I get it, and I have to understand both sides of it. But definitely, I think it was you, Admiral, who said earlier. Gibbs was like, "Man, why can't people just be down with just trying to stomp out fraud?" Or it might have been Andrew.
I said that.
But yeah, okay, so I get it. But you ever seen something where somebody did something wrong and it might come up, so people want to clean up the image because it's not good for PR. Even though they understand something wrong happened, it's still going to look bad on them, right?
Yeah, nobody wants to own that.
Nobody wants to own that, and we just have to realize that that's a reality of it. And so when we're dealing with this fraud thing, I think if you have the power, just make the moves. Andrew, the Republicans have the rock. Just go get it. They're not going to agree with you. Other people are going to be your enemies, and that's how it's supposed to be. I mean, they have their perspective and their viewpoint. And I'm sure if they get the rock again, they'll look for fraud and try to paint it on you. And so at the end of the day, just move accordingly, move with power. That's the only thing that really matters.
The problem I have with this, though, right, is like I think that it's been such a duplicitous lie from the very start. That is the issue, right? I'm not pretending the Republicans are saints, right? They have their own issues. But I was told for decades, hey, there's no illegals voting. There's no fraud. There's no Medicaid going to illegals. And then it turns out both of those things are true. We have examples all over the United States now that we're actually digging into it, where there's charges being made in mass to all sorts of people for both of these things. And I'm going, oh, well, you're going to sit here and go, hey, buddy, Republicans are bad too. What do we do? Now, it's like, okay, we have a new Republican Party group in power, a new faction of Republicans, right? It's not like this is the traditional neocons. This is not the normal Republic. This is like the new MAGA people. It's very populist. We have new people that were MAGA, that break away from MAGA. We have all this kind of like upwelling from the lower roots. And it's like, if there's ever going to be a time to talk about this institutionalized fraud, it's now. And what's happening is once you find one example of fraud, like, oh, hey, these guys are doing like this person, Esperosa, that was owned an apartment building. They put forth 346 ballots, right? And they've been arrested for it for illegals, okay? Well, now that we know that this is something they're doing, they're an apartment manager. Oh, well, let's look into more of these apartment managers in the area and see what they're doing. Oh, we see the Somalians are doing this wrong. Oh, well, this is how they're doing it this way. What if we could see those same things over here? And we're finding now how they're doing it, and now we're peeling back the onion. So I think if we're going to do it, we have to do it now. But what's happening is Dems are going, we investigated 6 million of fraud. Look, we were the good guys. Y'all are just so morally superior. I'm not even saying we're morally superior. I'm saying It's time to fucking take a hard look at shit, and let's at least try to clean up the rot that we can get at. And right now, MAGA and the Republicans are in power, and it's the Democrats' turn to answer for subverting the American public.
Gibbs, I think it boils down to, I mean, I honestly do with the illegals, that if they take all the illegals from California, I mean, I live in Texas like you, but if they take all the illegals from these states, that they're going to lose House seats when the next census is taken, and the Democrats are going to lose some of their power because a lot of the Democratic states are the states that are going to lose the most people because they have these sanctuary cities, so they're going to lose tons of House seats. Then they lose power in the House, and then they lose power in Washington.
I'm just going to step away to the ladies' room, gentlemen. I assume you can all play well without me. I'll be right back.
Oh, you don't have the jar under your seat?
Yeah, you gotta get the little like travel
rookie move.
I also want to say, like, I don't know if y'all saw this video of Lindell TV. I think this is actually to, I think obstacles. You just said that where they're not going to like rat themselves out. They want to make themselves look better. I think there's something to be said for that. I think you're right. Obviously, if I'm committing fraud, I'm not going to go be like guilty, unless I like cut a deal, like, I mean, like, and then I might be Tashiki 6ix9ine and say I'm Batman. But I think with Omar over here, she is doing something a little more insidious, is that she's like casting aspersion on people's credibility. It's one thing to deny, hey, I'm doing this. It's another thing to start calling you and anybody that believes this, anybody that's crazy and saying your brain is fried and y'all need to go get a mental health check. This is what we call this relationship gaslighting. And I think the Democrats have been gaslighting the American people for too long.
There's a food pantry that was in that same Senate hearing or congressional hearing that they get all their funding from the U.S. government or from the state of Minnesota. And they had written a $1,600 donation to Lon Omar. So why do they need to kick back $1,600 to her if they're if we're giving them all their funding?
Yeah, and I even said some of this stuff's not illegal. Like, I don't know specifically if, like, I own a business.
You're just talking about shit that just happens in politics now, right?
Yeah, but
no, I mean, if it's tax money going to fund a food pantry, you should be able to take tax dollars and say, "Oh, let me give it back to the congressman who's going to get me more money."
But there's you acting like this is something new in politics is ridiculous, right?
It's been going on for a long time. But we're trying to investigate it. I mean, Gibbs, obviously know a lot more about all this than I do. Didn't Ken Paxton just start an investigation into Texas fraud?
I brought this up recently. Specifically, he did arrest people for voter fraud. I think it was 21 defendants have been arrested outside of LULAC for basically signing up illegals literally outside of their offices. That's a case. He's got some other cases that he's pursuing that have not made it as far as that one. But that's his big, like,
I thought there was a new one though that they just when they started finding all this financial fraud in Minnesota that he started.
I mentioned there's several like housing like projects here that they got the money that's basically been given to them by the government. So those are like kind of early in the stages of the investigations. But yeah, he's filed stuff on several people here with fraud. And like if this is happening in a red state like Texas, like this is kind of my point. Imagine what's happening in California and Minnesota.
Oh yeah,
they have law enforcement that's in their favor. Like.
Hello, Vibe. And Tom Carpenter sends in Big Ten says, I built a ladder from questions I could not answer. Each rung bending under the weight of doubt. And every step was a thought correcting the one before it. I'm confused. What did you guys say something that was like correlating with this? And the summit kept moving as I climbed.
Yeah, I think he's talking about the moving goalposts. It's like each time
just getting older. The older you get, the less sure you are of any fucking thing. The more muddy it all gets.
This is a valid point.
I knew about a quarter of what I did when I was 20, I think.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. All right. Okay, Vibe coming on in hot and heavy. let's go. What you got?
I love that you said hot and heavy. I actually just got off another panel, so I'm catching up. I actually don't have anything hot or heavy yet, but I'm ready to engage.
All right. Well, Tom Carpenter finishes up to say, only then did I see the climb itself was the goal. Oh, that's pretty. Tom always comes in with like all of these random quotes and stuff. I love it. And speaking of, he finished the goal. So shout out to you, Tom Carpenter, for completing that. And I will wait a little bit before I start another one since you guys are having fun. And the patriarchy is still ruling in the dono goals, ladies. Figure it out. The men are going to win.
Here's
All
something else I wanted to throw out there. I know a second ago I said that why don't they want to work together? If there's actual fraud, find it and get rid of it. If not, just forget about it. Up since Trump and his wife came down the escalator, the left has done nothing but want to make him look like an absolute fool, and they've failed at every turn.
So he does that pretty well himself.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We know you have TDS, so we won't get into that. So if this isn't happening, wouldn't it be a golden opportunity for the left to say, listen, all Trump and his cronies are barking up the wrong tree. None of this stuff is happening. We will prove to you that it's not happening because here's all the books, here's all the figures, here's everything. Well, it's a golden opportunity for them to do that, and they're not doing that. Doesn't that tell you something about what's going on over there?
What are you talking about? They're currently auditing all that
y'all
shit.
say is fake. When there's proof of things that say it's fake. I got a question. When you talked about him coming down the escalator, has it ever at one point in time ever crossed your mind that maybe Trump is like a fool and is an idiot and isn't worthy of being president and makes bad decisions and is a con man? Like, has that never been a thought in your mind? Never. Not once.
No.
Despite the bankruptcies and the fraud, that never crossed your mind that he was like,
dude, if you understand business,
Gibbs, hold on, I want Andrew to answer. I'm sorry.
If you understand business, you understand what the bankruptcies were about. It wasn't a personal bankruptcy.
I'm not trying. If you know business, I don't. Stop.
Yes, like 9 of them.
You don't get that many.
No, 670.
If you know business, even if that was the case, has Elon Musk had that many bankruptcies?
Well, I take umbrance with this problem.
Wait, Gibbs, you go and divert, bro. I'm talking to Andrew.
Well,
that's
sure.
funny.
Does Andrew want to respond?
Yeah, I said if Elon Musk has had any bankruptcies, I'm sure we would have heard about it. Right. But is Elon Musk the only way to do business?
No, absolutely not. I'm not saying
okay
that.
Then.
But is it normal for somebody that's supposed to be a great businessman to have that many bankruptcies? And
yes, when you have that many,
and not only have the bankruptcies, but be sued and lose for fraud too, and fraud.
Yes,
and
that is very. When you have as many businesses,
discrimination.
Hey, when you have as many businesses,
if you're gonna say yes, you want him to be your president too. You
Go
want
ahead,
him
Jason.
to be your president.
When you've had that many, when you've had the number of businesses he's had, it's very common to have 6
And you want him to be your president.
Y'all had Joe Biden, who was
make mistakes.
dementia-ridden, as your president for 4 years.
Why are you talking about Joe
so
Biden?
don't act like you're morally
don't
superior.
do whataboutisms. Why are you talking about Joe Biden? We're talking about Trump. Why are you talking about Joe Biden? Do you think it's okay that you want somebody that constantly commits fraud, constantly has bankruptcies, constantly is a con man
done
to
either
be
one
your
of them.
president?
You're just showing out.
Back that one
You're
up.
showing the lack of intelligence that you have. That's all you're doing.
You never refuted anything I said. You just been trying to insult me, bro.
I think
you never
Gibbs
refuted what I said. You just insulted me.
I think Gibbs wants to jump in here. Go ahead.
I do want to jump in. I think that what's interesting here is like one thing I've said when I'm talking about this fraud with the Dems, I've called it ineptitude, but I called it like weaponized ineptitude. I don't believe for one the Dems are stupid at all. I think they're very intelligent. I think they're insidious and duplicitous. Now, what they're doing is bad. And I don't think there's even the ones that are stupid, quote unquote, are like sitting here plotting and they're pretty high intelligence. They're getting this product. So the idea that what logic is presenting about Trump is that this man who has somehow been able to defraud people and hide his money and not get it taken away through these bankruptcies, somehow is able to win an election, somehow has been able to tap into this movement, is somehow just an idiot, and then somehow also keeps winning Supreme Court cases. I find it ludicrous, and it's not serious because either you believe he's this like mastermind or you believe he's a con,
when he tried to steal the election.
Logic, I have a question for you. How many businesses is Donald Trump or subsidiaries of his company has he had in his career?
Say that one more time.
How many charities has he failed?
No, answer the question. How many subsidiaries or businesses has Donald Trump had? Effigy, quit trying to change the damn subject.
It is, but what I do find funny, I'm sorry, you kind of slurred.
No, answer the question. How many businesses or subsidiaries has he had in his career?
I don't know the exact number. I don't
hear the question. People are talking over.
250.
So
6 have failed.
So
actually, Tom Carpenter comes in to speak to that. He says, hate to break it to you, but the number of bankruptcies compared to the number of businesses is way lower than the average. It's actually proof of business acumen. That's just a fact.
Not really, and that doesn't mean he should be president.
Logic, you're just more. How many businesses have you run, Logic?
That
Zero?
So
okay.
irrelevant. That's so irrelevant.
No, it's really not, because you don't have a clue what you're talking
about it. Shut the fuck up. You're just saying shit because you don't have arguments. You just
I
trying
just
to
proved you wrong.
All right, hold on.
You just keep trying to insult
Let's
me.
have some form of order.
everybody.
Gentlemen, do I have to start yelling at you to shut the fuck up? I don't want to do that.
Everybody, relax.
Obstacles, I think you were adding,
Yeah.
I think you were trying to add something in. If you'd like to go ahead and go.
Yeah, it was kind of funny. Shout out to Logic, but it was just kind of funny because it was like Donald Trump sucks at business, who is good, Elon Musk, and it's funny. They hate both. And actually, those two people actually work together with each other. So that was pretty interesting. So a dumb businessman hooks up with a great businessman and they make things happen. So shout outs to them. But I would say also with the bankruptcy, your net worth really matters, right? Like how much wealth you have, regardless of how many bankruptcies you have. Do you still have wealth or are you piss poor broke? That's the actual end equation. But let's go to the actual important point about the whole thing. Look, you become president by being voted for. So for you to sit back, you have one vote, and you might say, well, this guy shouldn't be president. So I'm going to vote no for Trump and let's say Kay Harris, right? Oh, yes, she's qualified. Cool, that's your right. If a bunch of other people, right, in this republic decide, hey, I want him to be my president because I just like the way he looks. I like his toupee. And they vote. Long as they're 18, they're allowed to do it. You're not allowed to come through and say, and warriors, Marines have fought for people to have these liberties. You're not allowed to come and say, well, he's a bad businessman and he's not a good president, so therefore he shouldn't be president. According to you, and you had your one vote. When we tally up these votes, most people said in America, he should be the president. So guess what? He's the president. He can't be, you can't change that just because you think, well, I think you need to be a good president and you need to go to Yale. Okay, that's your requirement, but that's not everybody else's. And you have to respect that. If not, then you're a tyrant. Just say it. Just say I'm an anarchist. I don't care. I want to suspend your right to vote. I don't think you are qualified to vote because that's a stupid measurement and I don't agree with it. And you should vote the way I think you should vote, but that's not the case.
So at the beginning of his first term, when he didn't get the most votes, he shouldn't have been president?
We don't know about the popular vote. We go off the electoral college.
Wait,
the way the votes
let
are
him answer
done,
the question.
of course, right?
Wait.
The way the votes are done, so it's not populist, right? It's not the most popular vote. It's done differently in our country. Do you know that? And so that's the process.
That was implied.
So if you want to change it for the most popular vote,
can you answer the real question? Because what he said was implied in the question. Obviously, the popular
I
vote
said
isn't
what I said, and that's my response.
So you didn't understand the question then, basically.
No,
right?
Logic, we understand it. We know how the government works.
I think Vibe wanted to jump in on this one since you guys can't get along. Vibe, I will hand it over to you, sir. Vibe.
No, I was just backing up obstacles here. I'm just like, praise him on this. We voted for this person, right? He's not going to be king. There's no way he can be king. There's no way he's going to be elected for a third term. The leftists are freaking crazy on that. But Obstacle just like laid it out pretty simply for everybody. Also, for Logic, when it comes to comparing Donald Trump to Elon Musk, do you realize that Elon Musk companies were going bankrupt, even though he didn't file for it? He was living on sofas when he was running Tesla and SpaceX and borrowing money to pay paychecks last minute. Everybody does their business acumens differently, but they both failed and succeeded, right? Simple.
I mean, let's not
Go
pretend
ahead.
he came from like a trailer park, man. His father was a fucking rare
Emerald
gem mine
mine
owner from
owner.
South
so
And that
what?
didn't have
Come
nothing
on,
to do
and
with
that
us.
proves
He had a
what?
pocket full of emeralds at all times. He was doing all right.
Trip comes in with a big 5 and says, in direct response to obstacles and ops, Trump voters not only believe 2020 was stolen, but their only reason for the belief is because Trump didn't win. Any thoughts to that obstacle?
No, because what happened? Biden became president and the United States moved forward.
Yeah.
Okay, they were salty. So what?
Salty? You just call what happened salty. It was just salty.
Wait, hold on.
We
Was
were
he the-
salty Kamala lost.
Yeah,
That
was
was
he not
salty.
the-
Was he the president?
Was he the president?
We
Exactly.
go,
President come into
wait,
power.
wait.
The new president come into
wait,
power.
So what? So when Trump lost, his supporters
Bro,
were
you can
salty.
put whatever name you
So
want.
what was? So
Hold
what
on,
was
let
we
him-
when
let him talk.
Kamala lost? Was we salty or was we like?
I don't think there's a question.
Y'all are salty right now, that's for sure.
I admit
I
we
think-
were
I
salty.
personally don't think
I don't
anybody.
care. But
I
what do
don't
you
think
call
any
Trump?
election
What do
was
you
rigged.
call the
That's
Trump supporters that believe the election was stolen? That's what he's referencing.
People
What were
that
they?
believe
just
Salty is the
salty?
equivalent of
They were
overthrowing the
salty.
government.
Mad, angry, outraged. Put
Let
whatever
me
name
let
you
me
want.
just take a moment, gentlemen, to kindly remind you there are a lot of voices up on this show on the screen, and we have to go one at a time because right
Damn,
now
y'all, these motherfuckers crazy.
all I hear is blah, 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 and we can't hear all of these amazing great points that you're saying. We want to hear you. Let's just go one at a time, okay? Who was saying? I think Logic, because I think you were going. But what I had a thought to add in here, and now I completely
Well, I want
forget.
to talk about the election.
Yeah, we were on the election, but I also wanted to add in, you could be salty about something, but if you do end up proving that there was voter fraud later, that I find to be a bigger issue. And if you're claiming that, if the claim is that the 2020 election was stolen from Trump because of voter fraud, and we're starting to actually prove it, and the audits are showing that this is true, I don't think it's a matter of being salty at that point. I think it's a matter of saying, see, I told you so. Gibbs, I'll go ahead and hand it over to you, sir.
Yeah, I want to
It's
talk
just
about
not
the 2020
happening.
election real quick. I think it's interesting because first we have right now we have in December of 2020 December 20 what is the day on this? December 22nd, 2025. This is from Atlanta News First. We have Fulton County officials admitting that 315,000 votes were allowed to go through without being verified by poll workers' signatures. Right? Pretty suspicious. We have Fulton County just dropping their case. Now Trump is seeking $6 million in legal fees repaired to. We also have, I mentioned this earlier, it was Wisconsin, not Minnesota, but Wisconsin Election Committee Commission Executive Director Claire Woodall-Vaughan delivered just the margin needed over 39 states coming at 3 a.m. This is the claim. She was fired. And vlog, and we have her on tape, says, damn, Claire, you have flair for drama. Delivering just the margin needed at 3 a.m. I bet you at those votes counted at midnight, just wanted to keep the world waiting, delivering just the margin needed. And so we're sitting here looking, we're seeing examples all the way through where they go, oh, they've got examples of voter fraud, and they go, oh, in Wisconsin
So
was
your
a
evidence is that the
0.67%.
election was close.
And well,
And
hold on.
that
My evidence is now that we've been in power, we got people in power and they're looking into it. We're finding examples of voter fraud. We have examples I just mentioned of Esperanza, who's been charged now in Georgia for exactly this voter fraud where illegals are voting based on their apartment complex. We're seeing this thing with Fulton County. We're seeing this thing in Wisconsin. We're seeing
Voting on
examples all over the
what?
nation. We're seeing in Ken Paxton that is going in Texas where they had illegals voting, where they've had Xerox votes voting, where we had suspicious other stuff. There's now an argument at mail-in ballots. I just saw a report today. They're opening investigations. Some of the mail-in ballots had different paper from the military, and somehow all 100% went to Biden. There's a lot of suspicious things now, and for people to go, oh, the election, there's no questions. Whenever we see all this rampant fraud, I think that's disingenuous.
Gibbs,
I
I
mean,
find it
when you see
interesting.
all the things that you just by default believe the first time you read. Like
Gibbs, I
saying
find
you discovered a shitload of ballots for the 2020 election after the 2024 election is a little bit stretching it, right?
Okay, is it
Sounds a little
just
bit stupid,
okay?
right?
Here's a fact. Here's a fact that we can just not dispute. Is there a state that Trump won that had? No, hold on. What states did Kamala win that had voting ID laws? I'll wait.
How do you How do you register to vote?
How do you hold on? You have to show up with an ID. What states have voting ID laws that she won?
Was that the answer
Name
to my
one.
question? Or no?
I mean, I asked the question. You asked the question.
No, fair enough. No, I know you did, but
with the question.
your response, I didn't know if you were answering me or not. I'm not even being like an asshole right now.
Yeah, no, I didn't answer. I don't know how to register and vote in all those, but specifically in Minnesota, they have a voucher system. So one registered voter can vouch for 8 other people, and then they don't have a voter ID law, coincidentally. So, strange if that's how that goes down.
Genuinely, I don't know this information. You said in Minnesota you can vouch for other people for
yeah,
what
I believe
part
it's
of
up
voting?
to 8 for federal voting. Yeah, it's a voucher system.
I thought it was only 4. You could only vouch for 4 people, though,
right.
Gibbs.
I might be 4 people, but
is this
it was
after they are
multiple 4.
registered or not? That's what I'm asking you.
No, this
one
is
registered voter can vouch for 4 unregistered voters.
Yeah, and then they can be registered that way.
Okay.
It's either 4 or 8. I can't. I mean, I knew it's one of the 2.
Regardless, pretty sus whenever they don't have a voter ID, and then all the states that voted for Kamala coincidentally don't have voter ID. Is that a coincidence or is it evidence at this?
I mean, Gibbs. There's the proof right there. The teacher who, that was an illegal alien who got arrested.
Their residence.
And no, this was an illegal that they had been trying to chase, and he pulled a knife on the feds, and they literally proved that he had voted in like the last 4 elections. So yeah, and that's a little bit hard to disprove, Evg. Whenever they, I mean, he was a superintendent for a school as an illegal alien.
How do you do that?
Just happened.
How do you do that? Become
And
a
he had voted.
superintendent of a school.
Oh, and the school district didn't even try to deny it, Sarah. They're like, yeah, we know, yeah, we didn't care.
This is all like, look, no one wants bad shit to happen or for people to do bad shit, but do you guys not think at all that your hyper focus is a little bit more you? Like statistically, illegal immigrants still commit crimes at a rate 1/3 of both legal immigrants and citizens. So like, you guys keep pointing to stuff, and of course it's bad. But
why should we have
citizens
one
over
illegal
here doing it like 5 times more?
Well,
and you guys are like, but this is worse. So
no, there's now questions about the reporting. Texas started identifying crimes differently. Yeah,
Texas,
and now we're finding out illegals are committing crimes at a higher rate than regular citizens. So like,
Gibbs, I remember
that everything's been framed dishonestly.
It's
by the left
funny how they just start saying that right
well,
when everyone's
I mean,
their ethnic cleansing fucking vibe.
Hold on though.
Wait, hold on. Can I take something?
Hold on. I'll hand it over to you in just a second. Obstacles. Every single illegal alien is committing at least one solid crime. They are 100% all committing a crime.
Obstacles, can I say one thing really quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to hand it over.
They proved that Texas, I believe, is the only state that records crimes as illegal or legal citizens. The rest of the states don't do that. All the other 49 don't do that. Texas is the only one that does.
Yeah, I just want to bring up this superintendent again before you give it to obstacles, but this is a great example. This is a prominent member of the community that not only was voting, we know he voted, but he was a superintendent in charge of like local policy to some extent. And this is all Democrat. This is somebody that they back. This is somebody their Congress people are defending. And then he sat here and we know for a fact he voted. And so what I was told was there's no illegals voting. And not only are we finding out illegals are voting, but we're getting illegals put in positions of power and they're voting.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, obstacles. Carry it away.
Yeah, I get what FSG was actually saying, but one of the things I'm kind of big on is just reciprocity. So any place that you go, probably non-Western, but any place that you'll go in the world, they don't care. If you're a foreigner and you're committing any ounce of crime, they don't care. To the point where I lived in places like Thailand, right? They're like, foreigners, you need to wear your helmets when you're out here riding bikes. And if you don't, the cops will get you and ask for some money, right? But net, some foreigner would be like, Thai people are doing it. And they're like, so what? They're Thai. Now, of course, the law is to wear a helmet. It doesn't matter if you're a foreigner or if you're a local, right? Both have to follow the law. But most people of countries don't want foreigners, outsiders, violating their laws. They don't care what percentage it is. They say, stay here and obey our laws. If you don't, if you break just one law, we will be on your ass. They're not going to start stringing up their own people or saying, oh, well, we got ties breaking laws, so let's not get the foreigners who are breaking laws. So you just got to realize that when you're a guest in someone's home, yes, you're not allowed to commit any drama, conflict, and issues inside their country. It might be family business and they might have problems, but that's different. And every country in the world looks at it like that. America's nothing special. We're actually kind of stupid because we allow people to violate our laws.
Now, I'm not advocating for people in the country and out of it to violate laws. Let's get that out the way. What country do you want to emulate as far as how they look on the world stage? What country do you want us to look like?
The United States under Manifest Destiny. Like, I mean, what's your point? I don't know.
Well, I'm talking about a country that's not us right now.
Every other country on the face of the planet has strict immigration laws.
That really
if you're there illegally, you're being deported.
Or getting shot.
Like Japanese culture, right?
I'm sorry.
You probably
you got cut out. Say that again.
Oh, I said you probably like Japan, right? You could say they're probably a cool country and they have a nice culture, right? Okay, so when it comes to immigration, I want to come with the same type of reciprocity and smoke Japan has. They don't play that. You don't come to Japan illegally, period. So that is the area that I would like to reflect.
Fair. But how do they compare to us on the world stage? Japan.
Pretty high. They're one of the strongest nations in the world. They're up there.
One of. There's always a one of.
They don't even have an army.
Well, okay, South Korea.
That's why I'm like one of. I mean, but that comes with like, you know how it's like if you got a scale, like you could be number one, but number 2 is like kind of far down from you. You know what I'm saying?
Top 10. They're top 10. They're up there.
But I'm talking. Yes, there has to be a top 10 if you're gonna rank things, but that doesn't mean they're close. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean you're close just because you're in the top 10. Even if you're number 3, that doesn't mean you're close to number 1.
You know how many countries there are in the world, my guy?
A lot. That's irrelevant.
Yeah, so top 10 is pretty high. That's not irrelevant.
That is irrelevant. If they don't have an army,
guys, you see what happens? You see what happens? Math starts. It becomes a problem.
If they don't have they don't have an army.
Logic. Let me ask you a question. If you wanted to move to Mexico, no, let me ask you a question honestly. If you wanted to move to Mexico and say buy beachfront property, you think you can move to Mexico and buy beachfront property?
Not just the way you're presenting it. No.
Actually, if you're an immigrant in there and you even do it legally, no, you can't buy beachfront property. You have to be a Mexican citizen to buy beachfront property in Mexico.
Do you want to be like Mexico?
But I'm saying that Mexico is basically a shithole of a country.
But you're trying to use them as an example for what we like. We can't.
But I mean, y'all want to just open the borders and say everybody come?
I opened it up and said I'm not vouching for anybody to break laws. I said that from the jump. So that's not what I'm arguing.
You brought up. You said pick a country. You said pick a country, and they picked Japan. I
thought but also they don't have an army.
Hold on. Sure. Okay. Fine. We got
South
Korea.
South Korea's
got an army.
Your army, don't you?
Yeah. South Korea's got an army. They got a pretty good one. Let's just pick them then. I mean, we can pick any of these countries. The reason why Japan, I think, just changed their constitution, so their defense force is now basically an army, or they're in the process of it.
Yeah, they're remilitarizing now.
Yeah, they're remilitarized. So, like, if we pick Japan or like Korea, I feel like it's the same as we talk about Somalia. You got to look at like the size comparison. And so, like, when we're sitting here going, "Oh, a country the size of New Jersey basically has a GDP of this, and Minnesota is basically having this much fraud, and it's more than the GDP of that country," that's a problem. And then when we look at Japan or North South Korea, and they're the same size, and they're wildly restrictive on immigration, then I think that, maybe we should take a look and go, okay, why are these other countries that are successful?
They're going to hit a demographic cliff very soon.
I mean,
there's problems and wins, but I mean, in this case, economically,
no, both Japan and South Korea are about to hit a demographic cliff very soon. Like a really hard demographic.
But we're not.
The Democrats always,
because we have immigrants.
The socialist Democrats always love to point out Norway and Sweden or whatever. I mean, look at their immigration laws.
God.
I know that was not funny. But so what's interesting?
This
is hilarious.
This is how I show you the example doesn't exist, right? I mean, people are just biased at the end of the day. Watch this. Don't you hear Americans say, man, America, it should be like Europe. They have universal basic health care. Or this country that has universal basic health care. So we use certain aspects of human activity or a certain society and what they do, and we use that as an example to say we should try that. We should have that here in America. Does that mean we want to become Sweden? No, that just means we probably want universal basic health care.
The difference is you don't have the evidence to prove why what they're doing is better. That's the difference. Unless you can come up with empirical evidence of why what you're advocating for is better, that would be the difference.
No, go ahead. Yeah, so what I'm just saying is we're advocating for strict immigration laws and not allowing illegals to be in America.
Nobody is advocating for illegal immigration, though.
Here's the craziest thing,
I
though.
beg to differ.
I'm sorry. I want to correct myself. I'll be fair. I won't say nobody. I won't say nobody.
Actual passive methods put out higher numbers.
Clip it. AI, clip it. Say it again, Logic.
I just corrected myself. If y'all gonna be literal, yes, I'm not gonna say no everybody or nobody. I should say. Because yes, if y'all gonna be literal, yes, I'm not gonna say nobody. I'm not gonna sit here and speak for everybody in America.
I mean, there's certain liberals on here who literally fight
the policy by Democrats is not let's have illegal immigration. That's what I'm saying.
What would you call a sanctuary? What would you consider a sanctuary city?
It's just to not have the obligation to report it so they can keep up with action. So people aren't afraid to report crime. That's the goal of it.
Sarah, I'm going to say one word. Minneapolis.
Yeah, it's a place where it's not easy to violate someone's constitutional rights just because you think they're an illegal alien.
So you see that? Like, look.
Oh, look, nothing like a good pussy on the screen to calm everybody down. Hello, beautiful.
That gets me ramped up.
Fat cat. How do you get your cat that fat?
This one's not even overweight, apparently, according to the doctor.
Gibbs, is that Mancoon?
Lagging.
He's like, he's part Maine Coon. He's like half. I don't know. His mom was like part something else, but she was massive. She's like a 30-pound cat.
Damn, that's a fat cat.
My cat who passed away last year was 24 pounds right before he got sick. So
yeah, he's a big old boy.
Okay, I got to jump in here. And
Go ahead. Actually, if you don't mind, Andrew, I'm going to just say one thing. I'm going to kick off the gauntlet here in just a minute. So if you know where you're going, you should get the notification. I'd like you all to start heading over, and then we should all be over there within the next 5 minutes. Andrew, the floor is yours.
Well, first of all, I don't know what that means, what the gauntlet is, and I don't know if I'm invited or not.
Where we get dirty,
you're
bro.
not. You're
be
just
transferred
gonna
over.
stay. You're just gonna stay right where you are.
Okay.
Over the head. Hockey shirt over the head.
What?
Yeah, you don't look white enough to know what I'm talking about.
Okay, I didn't hear what you said. No,
I said over there is where we pull the hockey shirts over the head. We go full on with it.
Gotcha.
Shout out
Gotcha.
Mantis
Right.
for
No, I'm
becoming
going to say
on the
something
channel.
that may
Thank you.
make
Shout out
me
Mantis.
not
Thank you for Mantis,
be
shout out.
invited back anymore. But Sarah, I got to say, you are absolutely gorgeous.
Wow.
I know nothing about you, so I don't know anything about you. Wow, you were absolutely
Put
gorgeous.
him in the
All
simp
right.
wagon.
Don't worry. You
Creep
are
factor
most
just went way up,
definitely.
didn't it? There you go.
You are most definitely invited back. But the gentlemen, don't be alarmed if they start calling you a simp and making fun of you for that
That's
comment.
fine.
However,
That's
I
true,
am
too.
the host.
Hey,
It is
jealousy
my
jealousy, so
show.
whatever.
It is my show, so you can most certainly tell me how gorgeous I am
Get your
all
money,
day
Sarah.
long, and I will gladly accept it. But thank you. That's very kind. All right. Kick us off, Effigy. I know you got more to say about that. Not the simp stuff, but the other stuff.
Wait, what were we talking about?
You were on
gorgeous Sarah is.
Sanctuary. You were on Sanctuary Cities, and we were also. The claim was that nobody's advocating for illegal immigration, and
Right.
we all laughed.
I think the proof in the pudding on this is that
shout out to
presidents who
Dal
use
for
passive
becoming a
methods of
member.
deportation, like
Appreciate you, Dal.
Obama
Thank
did,
you.
actually have higher rates of deportation of illegal aliens. I mean, it's just you can count it off, Gibbs, but I mean, it is a true fact. He's not even meeting his own quotas as far as expelling people, and he's sending his own little baby Gestapo in there to do it for him, when people who actually used intelligent methods of going after criminals and getting the worst elements first and getting them at the border, that's mostly where the deportation numbers come from, is at ports of entry. They put up higher clip numbers. So, and sanctuary cities, to me, those are just places that guarantee your constitutional rights, so that people are secure enough to actually report crimes. That was the whole point of it. I know people don't like to give even illegal aliens constitutional rights, but that's the entire point of America, is that once you're on the fucking soil here, you get constitutional rights.
Yeah, Minneapolis has proven that they, just care about those rights of the ICE officers and other U.S.
You mean
citizens.
as ICE goes door to door and fucking pisses on the Fourth Amendment?
You mean like the illegal aliens who beat the crap out of the
more
ICE
than illegal
agent?
immigrants, bro? Like, stop.
Yeah, we can have a conversation about who's actually violating the Constitution
Right,
in Minneapolis.
We don't need to have a conversation. We're in power. This is why I tell people like Gibbs and Andrew and Jason, just keep moving. Stop listening to them. They're losers. At the end of the day, if they were in power, wait, let me finish. At the end of the day, if they were in power, they wouldn't be talking to you. They wouldn't be having conversations. They'll be executing the way they see fit. So you do the same accordingly. You have the power, they have zero.
It's actually not true. We would be still talking to you.
No power should be saying narratives like that. They should call you a racist because you want to protect yourself.
Considering the Democrats are the only ones who know how to pass bipartisan legislation, we definitely are the ones who still talk.
Let you finish your statement. Thank you. When you just finished yours and I didn't interrupt, my brother, let's continue. Powerless people do stuff like that.
I'm sorry, I just heard you preaching.
Jason, keep moving on with strength. We got the power. They don't.
I mean,
shout out to you too.
Speaking of power, I'm going to be shutting down the Raging Tomatoes side. You will catch the raid over, or you can start heading over now. The link is in the chat. Please feel free to catch the link or ride the raid. You can tomato port on over. If you don't know where you're going, hit the link. So on and so forth. All right, Raging Tomato is shutting down now. And we are officially on the Gauntlet. And for you, Andrew, the Gauntlet is just another channel I own. It's kind of our DGen Power Hour where more people get a little more dangerous, cantankerous, and sometimes TOS violations come out. So I don't want to lose the quality of the good part of the show where everybody was pretty calm and chill and doing their thing. So if I have to delete anything later on the Gauntlet, I'm not losing out all of Mr. Gibbs' work. So, but it's at the Gauntlet Debate on YouTube. That's where you are now streaming from. And the link is in the chat if you need to or want to go there to subscribe. But that's where you are now.
I bet Effigy's a real big fan of.
We're staying here. You just moved the YouTube.
Yeah, you guys don't move.
Okay.
Yeah, I just plug one in, unplug the other.
Okay.
It's pretty
I bet
easy.
Effigy's a really big fan of the Latin King that just got arrested for stealing a semi-automatic weapon out of a federal agent's car.
What?
I want to come back to something that Obstacles was talking about real quick, which is when he said he tells me and Andrew, and I've had this fight recently with someone I respect, Pentuple. I don't know if y'all know Pentuple. He's a good MAGA lawyer, but I fight Pentuple on this daily. I actually vehemently disagree with you. I think it's a key like that we go and we fight the fight, like where it's at all the time. And honestly, I know I've cut my support down because I don't come on the Republican circuit enough and like get enough of like y'all to come rah cheerly on because I want to go fight this fight. And I think it's important to fight this fight because we need to show how duplicitous and evil this ideology is. Because what they're doing is we talked about this 6 million thing and I earlier, right? And it's like I can point out examples that are happening right now. Just right now, that's like last week, Ilhan Omar put forth a bill after this place had been exposed that $1 million to go person. It wasn't a bill. It was an add-on to a bill that was established. Republicans caught it after the Nixon thing and cut it out. And so it's like, even if they're not fully in power, they still hold the, like, mechanisms within local levels at the highest level. And if we are not vigilant in fighting their mouthpieces, and we're not vigilant in fighting these mechanisms, then they're going to just come back. And we need to remind the American public what these people are at every chance. That's, I think, where I disagree with you on.
The 6 million isn't duplicitous because we're the ones who fucking found it, not you.
But then you say, oh, we found this. Look how good we are. And then when we want to investigate it more, you attack these people.
Doing the normal
literally
shit,
fired
man.
a whistleblower. You literally fired a whistleblower before they went to Congress. They literally have gone after people's jobs. We have people on tape, and we have them at congressional hearing status. And y'all are still
Good,
like,
get them.
But we did this
I'm fine
one
with
thing,
that.
so it excuses all the rest.
String them up.
No, that's not how it
Arrest
works.
them.
Just because you got one,
Yes, it
you
is.
should
Get
be
'em.
cheering on the rest
Sick
of them.
'em, boy.
You should be happy the rest is happening.
Well, what I don't like is just like lying, like it's just fucking flowing out of your mouth like sewage. Like you're just wrapping up. You're wrapping up news stories all the way back from 2019 all the way to 2026 and just regurgitating them. And maybe there's a little bit in there from the current scandal, and maybe there's like a whole bunch of other bullshit. But it just ends up being this big flood of like BS, man.
Yeah, Gibbs,
the only story we talked about from 2019 is the one y'all brought up with the 6 million. All these other ones are like from now and like the last like 6 months. And this is what's crazy is you're like, well, just because it happened then, well, that's because y'all didn't do enough. And now we're actually looking at it and we're doing something. And y'all are like, it's just conspiracy.
Gibbs, we don't have good theories like the Hunter Biden's laptop is Russian disinformation.
Oh yeah.
So here's my problem. Here's my problem.
Somebody won bingo just now.
Go ahead, Ben. Ben.
My problem with this is
Crazy Republican bingo.
As what happens with Ireland and Scotland. The reason Robert the Bruce succeeded where Ireland never succeeds in freeing himself of the nasty government they were involved with was because he went and got the people on his side that were fucked up out first. That's the first thing he did. He didn't go and attack the other side first. He got his shit straight. He cleaned up his own yard. And I don't understand why, and this applies to both sides. Both sides sit there and pretend like their side isn't doing it and justify and mealy mouth and lie for their side. Obstacles over here is just like, hey, it's cool. We're in power. And then it's stupidity at its finest. Like, why you need to clean up your own side and quit being piece of shit yourself before anybody will believe anything you're saying.
That's fair.
I'm Miss Balderson.
He's absolutely correct, though. I just like this is kind of the double standard, and this is what I talk about with this moral hierarchy on the left, where this moral superiority is like they'll judge you for your values, and then when you start looking into stuff, it's like it's hypocrisy. I will at least I openly admit that. I like some people.
I will give you credit if you admit that you don't have values.
Here's my value. Whatever's best for Papa. That's my value. Whatever's best for me. Listen, it's right now. It is. It's if it like, hey, listen, if someone else comes along and promises me something better, Papa gets his out. I'm not MAGA.
At least you honest, Gibbs. I will give. I will never disrespect you because for the level of honesty you portray. I will give you that.
Yeah, I'll bite that bullet. I'm just saying, like, I wish more people would bite that bullet. Because then we can get some shit done.
And you're right, because we can have the real conversation. If people bite the bullets that they try to act like they don't want to, then we can have a real conversation. Because all that bullshit where people be putting a facade up. That's why, Gibbs, I know I'll be frustrated with you sometimes, but you bite a lot of bullets I don't expect, and that makes it easier to get to the heart of the conversation.
Well, I appreciate that.
I'll tell you why I'm MAGA. We don't try trans kids or anything like that. Right, so, bro. Yeah, that's the big...
All right, man. All right.
Yeah. Somebody is going to hit Republican beat tonight.
Didn't want to hit that one.
He's been sitting on that one a while. He's like, I got to talk about trans.
No, Effigy, I mean, hey, we're fixing to win another Supreme Court case against the trans. So that's pretty big, Effigy.
We'll see how it goes, yeah.
My goodness.
Are you going to cry like the little bitch you are when we do?
Who you talking to?
I cry at every Supreme Court reading.
Because Effigy is a devout communist.
I actually genuinely love private property. It's one of my favorite things, at least top 5.
But yet you want socialized everything. Odd.
Effigy.
Socialism and communism are 2 different
Do
things.
you have?
No, they're not.
Read books. You'd know this
Do
if you
you-
read books.
Karl Marx disagrees with you, and I mean he was the founder of it.
Am I muted or something?
No.
Effigy,
dogs.
do you have like a solution to all of this fraud issue?
I mean, I'm totally for locking up people who commit fraud. Yeah.
Yep.
My biggest problem with all this is using it as a backdrop to demonize a community that they've been demonizing for like 5 or 6 years. We're almost right back to their eating the dogs and cats, right? The overarching bent of this presidency seems to ethnically cleanse the country. Like it really does.
It feels that way.
In these conversations, it's not even brought up that nearly all of the Somali people in Minnesota are citizens. They're either naturalized citizens or they're the children of naturalized citizens, which means they're full citizens. So like a smaller percentage of them are actually like considered quote unquote immigrants in the sense of they're not American citizens. So what they're talking about is they're trying to like get this hatred up toward this group so that they can denaturalize them. That's really what's happening.
Citizenship can be revoked.
Yeah, but
what will we do without the Leering Center? Ooh, America's going to destroy.
Gleefully say that, yeah.
Yeah, but Effigy, this is kind of the problem I have with that, right?
Because they print their own signs, right? Obstacles. They print their own signs, right?
The Leering Center won't allow us to excel. Oh my gosh, we would have never figured out the rocket.
The rocket. Oh boy, here you go.
Tomato, fierce and red, juicy curves,
This message is sponsored in part by.
So like,
like me, bro. That look like me.
This is the problem I have with what you're saying, Effigy. Right?
I did not give permission to anybody to use my picture like that. Sorry.
That's funny. Is that we have to start somewhere?
Wait, what the hell?
And is that we have to start somewhere, right? And like you're sitting here going, "Oh, this group's demonized," and I'm like, "Well, okay, I think they rightfully should be demonized too a little bit." If you're bringing a culture that's like antithetical to American culture, which is like we're bringing hardcore Muslim values, and then we're having all these other things that are happening. I see the dispatch. Sorry, and then we're having all this other happening, and we're having 80% of these people live off welfare. That's what the stats are saying. We're getting 80%. That means you're net negative. Okay, it's fine if you're net negative because maybe generationally you'll fix that. But then if you have a net negative and you're a protected group and you're getting billions in fraud and taking it out of the country, that's a problem. And I think we need to start somewhere. And guess what we're finding? This same thing is being recreated.
Protected status means they can be here. It doesn't mean they're protected from.
You don't think we should
here.
talk about
means
that? Why would
it's
you
the allowance of them being allowed here?
Why would you
actually?
This message is sponsored in part by
Sarah. What the fuck was that?
Hey Gibbs, just to be correct, they just got rid of the protected status for the Somalis.
I like how his voice went up when he said that too. He suddenly got like 15 again.
But
yeah, but I mean, the protected status thing doesn't matter anymore because, like I just told you, they're citizens.
It does matter because listen, just because you have your citizenship doesn't mean your loyalty is America. If you're like a net negative as a group and you're stealing in like mass, that's trade. That's almost traitor.
But my thing is, when do you know that's gonna happen until it happens? That happens to American-born citizens like 7 generations in. No, I know, but what I'm saying is, you don't have a barometer until it happens, right? Otherwise, you just say you don't want people that's of another ethnicity to ever reside here.
No, hold on.
I don't want people of another ethnicity resigning in America. I just said it.
No, I hear.
What do you want? Okay, so what do you want?
This is the same argument for every ethnic group for the last 150 years, though.
Yeah, I know, and I'm just going to double down on this.
That includes you. I'm not going to put obstacles. I'm not going to put that on Gibbs because I don't know if he feels that way. But there's a lot of people in this country that feel that way about you. So is that the stance you want to hold?
Obstacles.
You say another. That's a pussy ass answer. That ain't a real.
Hey, obstacles. Here's their
shout out to the Powder Dusty and his raid over in Welcome Dustians.
Shut up.
Obstacles. Here's their argument. Basically, we already have crime in the United States, so why do we care if we get more crime from other countries?
You can say some stupid shit. Look, like I said.
No,
Yeah,
that's
right?
just the truth.
No, that had nothing to do with what I said.
Let's take Somalians from a losing country to come over here and help us lose like they lose.
Wait,
like,
don't
come on,
most
bro.
immigrants?
It's not even like
first of all,
immigration,
immigrants
it's refugee
usually
status.
for the most part,
I
people
ain't
come here
mad
to
at
do
people
better,
that,
right?
the dope guys. Like, let's get the dope guys from another country. Let's not get the losers from other countries.
Most people come
coming over here
to
from
do better.
Sudan. You got no roads and no electricity. Don't come over here talking about what we can do.
Why do you think they're
You don't know
coming
how to
here?
build
You think
up
they come in
Sudan.
here
It
to
was
do
the poor
worse?
peasants who came over from Somalia. Seriously.
You was coming out here. What was it? What was the immigration status that they was coming under?
Wait,
Just
first of all,
just
wait,
like it's
let's
the
get
poor
one thing
peasants
out.
from
Wait,
from
Or
South
was it
Africa that they're trying to come in.
let's get one thing out the way.
feel like,
builders.
hold on.
Tonight-
I think these two need the
Sarah.
room.
I don't know
Oh,
who she
here
finna
we
put.
go.
I don't know who she
This is
put.
me and you, of course.
Okay.
Black
So-
on black crime. So let's get it.
This is funny. So what I'm asking is, let's get this out the way. Even if you do, I'm not vouching for this by no means, but if you're gonna come here into this country and fraud it, that means you're trying to better yourself, even if you're doing it through illegal means, right? And what's not something that Americans do besides try to get over on the government?
Wait, so you saying if I come here on fraud, that means I'm here to do good for myself?
For yourself.
Go
That's
ahead, say it
correct.
again.
For yourself. I'm not saying for everybody
So
else.
not for America,
Yes,
or
for
anybody else,
yourself.
just for myself.
Right.
So, all right, so if I'm coming to America and I'm doing fraud on documentations, I'm forging passports. That's good.
For
at
other
least I'm
people.
doing something for myself.
You talking about for other
Go
people?
ahead. Other
No, I'm
people.
saying
No, for myself.
That
Right?
that
I'm
does.
just- I'm
I'll be
just
fair.
talking.
That does benefit you as yourself, but that's not the. We're not
What were
talking
you
about
trying to say
passport.
then? My bad.
You good. So what I'm saying is, the way you're portraying, y'all are portraying foreigners that do come here and do crime as if it's separate than the same type of crimes that Americans commit to get themselves elevated. Natural born citizens. They're not like as much as the administration wants to lie and say they're rapists and murderers. That's not the crimes. If they're committing crimes, that's not the first crime that they're going to commit is rape and murder. But people that's doing fraud, that's the same shit Americans do to try to get over. Again, not saying it's okay and acceptable and I want that to happen. But what I'm saying is don't act like what they're doing is something that Americans don't engage in. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get you, but I can't go to Thailand and say, hey, let me come in here on fraud basis because Thais also commit fraud. And let's not act like Thai people don't commit fraud or Japanese people or any country that I might go to for immigration purposes. They don't care about that.
Right.
They just don't want myself coming up in their country
And
on that type of perpetrating a fraud.
And I fully understand that. But the problem is some of these people are advocating for just stopping them from coming here just because they have a certain ethnicity. And I think that's wrong. You won't know until they commit the crime. And I'm not for illegal immigration. I want people to come in legally. And you can't really, you don't know people's intention until they do it. You don't know. You just don't know.
Yeah, but what I'm just saying is, and we agree on that point. But one thing I actually want to say is meaning legal migration, right? We agree on that. But even then, people might disagree with it. You got to admit that too, right? Because if you come on an H-1B visa, then you might get people riled up and they don't even think you should be able to do that.
Right,
So that's
which is
legal.
completely legal. Yeah.
But that's a different conversation. But at the end of the day, I'm just against people coming here illegally, right? And it's regardless of your premise and your right to do good, because I've met people who want to come to America, but they do it legally because they just know, hey, I'm not going to violate America's rules. I'm just going to go about it. That's somebody with good character also. So it's not just about trying to get rich, 50 cents, get rich or die trying. It's about, are you willing to pump drugs on your street to get there just because you're trying to get rich? If you're saying, no, I'll never do that, then that's the type of person, because it shows character plus drive. So I think people who are migrating here to America need character plus drive. The character, the right to follow the law, and the drive to go out there and make better for their lives. That's the type of person.
I'm not mad at that perspective whatsoever. But I also want to acknowledge the fact that there are a lot of great people come from the bottom. A lot of people come from the bottom and they have good character, but they only have so few choices to survive. And now killing people, I don't think that's one of them. But there's some things that people have to do to survive. That's all. I'm not mad at what you said at all, but sure.
I get that point that you're making. but it ain't going to be on the back of our law. You might have to do what you got to do, but do that joints in your next country.
Sorry.
If
you come to this country and you want to work and you come to the country illegally, that's at the same level as jaywalking to me. If you want to come here to work.
Yeah, I have 2 points really. And so your question was basically like, why is it we're focused on these groups? Like this keeps be a recurring question on, oh, it's racist. Why are we talking about foreign? Why are we talking about immigrants? Like, I want to point out 2 things. One, let's just take a look at an evil organization that's all American. Let's look at, like, I don't know, the Hells Angels, right? Where do you think that money is spent? Like when they open up a biker bar and they're sitting here and they used it with their ill-gotten gains, and they sell drugs at it. Where do you think that money's spent? Well, the money is spent in America. Even if it's bad, they're still spending it in America. People that aren't criminals are going to benefit. The guy that's selling them the cases of beer at Specs, he's going to benefit, right? The guy that's sitting them, I sold them their POS machine for the legitimate transaction dues, they're going to benefit. Like there is something to be said for, at least they're American, committing American crimes. The money's staying here. What we're seeing with a lot of this fraud is it's leaving the country. That's a big issue. And the other thing I think is important is that Republicans, and not all Republicans, but at least the segment of Republicans that I'm advocating for, we have a problem with welfare and all this stuff in general, and we have a problem with the way our tax dollars are being spent. That's why we like the Doge. That's why we like these investigations. That's why we want, we go, Texas got rid of income tax. United States is talking about getting rid of income tax now because of the tariffs. Like these are things that we like as a overall policy prescription. And so when I sit here and I see billions being taken from me in tax fraud, basically, I'm pissed. And when I see it's leaving the country, or I'm seeing it's basically spent on pseudo welfare, which is then being abused, it makes me doubly mad. Because one, I don't even think we should go in there because it's welfare. And then I find out I'm getting fucked again. Wow, great, boys. I love it. Yeah, so I think it's realistic to go, let's start with the foreigners, and then we can talk about the Americans after that. Like, I don't think that's a ridiculous concept.
And Calvin, welcome. Jason, I'll hand it over to you, and then I do want to hear what Calvin has to add in. I know he's excited. Go ahead, Jason.
Well, here's what Eva G and Logic weren't understanding about. They've already got it doesn't matter. We waive their protected status. It actually does, because waiving their protected status is the first step of being able to denaturalize their citizenship and get rid of them.
Anyone have thoughts to that they want to add in?
I'm sorry.
If not, I'll hand it over to Calvin.
You said that's what,
calling your shot on being a piece of shit is just calling your shot on being a piece of shit.
No, I'm ready to get rid of the people who are just leeches off our system and send them back where they came from. I know y'all don't
pay a lot. How do you know where they came from, Jason? How do you?
Because they're from Somalia, Duck. I mean, that would be
everyone's
a pretty
from.
good clue.
They're eating the cats and dogs. They're all from Somalia. So put your knee in the back of their neck and call it a day.
80% of them are on welfare, just like you.
80% of 20% of our country are on welfare.
No, Duck. 80% of Somalians are on welfare.
And speaking of welfare, Iotin sending in the Big Ten to help contribute to this wonderful, amazing show and keep my lights on with nothing but tomatoes across the board. Don't forget, folks, you do have a dono goal that you have to hit for the show to keep going. You got about 40 minutes left. You're moving along just fine. Keep it moving. Thank you so kindly, Iotin. Calvin, to you, sir. Calvin.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I apologize first because I'm late to the party. So I missed a lot of what's going on, but I did see the title ahead of time and kind of, I guess as I'm listening to everyone, I kind of see where it's going, and I imagine it would go this way. I guess we're kind of looking at the Somalians, that community, and what has gone. As an independent, I would say that I do hold the Democrats, or not the Democrats, the Democrats responsible to a degree for a lot of what.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Let him talk.
Are we talking? I'm sorry, I'm late.
Actually, what the fuck are you talking about?
Was the conversation about the Somalians? I'm sorry.
No,
yeah, we were there. Don't worry.
You're good. You're doing good.
I thought I heard
Doc,
him say.
shut up.
I
Doc, shut up. Calvin, you make him.
Accountable. That's
Duck,
what
either you shut up or I'll make you.
Go for it, Jason. You bitch.
Okay.
Go ahead, Calvin.
Well, like I said, I'm an independent, so I mean, I hold fraud across the board, and I do see that the Democrats are tend to be lax in terms of letting their side get away with certain behaviors I could condemn, like probably fraudulent things of that nature. So if we're talking about the community and what happened with him, I would generally do agree that there should be
You're
some
just a pussy, Calvin. You're a pussy.
not really.
Little bit.
Accountability. Well, let me finish what I'm saying. Let me finish what I'm saying. You might like it. I said so. So they should be a degree of accountability that they should be holding their party to. However, I guess what I'm puzzled by, if we are indeed, or if there are some concern about fraud or what things of that nature, I think there's a lot that is going on within the Trump administration. So I've just wondered if the same concern is there as well.
Oh, they don't care.
Oh, and Sarah, just so because I wasn't
All
up here
good.
last night to say
Them.
it, fuck you for the way you disrespected Mama Tomato last night, Duck. So this is another one for tonight.
All right. Well, you're a bitch,
There it
Jason.
goes.
Just as long as you
There
know
it
you're a bitch.
goes. All
You're my
right.
friend, but you're a bitch.
Allow me, if anyone needs to take a short bathroom break, now is your time to do so, because Duck is now officially on the chopping block. Duck, Jason has sent in $100. You know the drill. I think he's still upset about you being disrespectful to my mother last night, even though you did apologize. So I give you a lot of kudos there. Duck, and before you say anything, Texas Bully Mom also follows up to say, Duck, shut it. You disrespected Mama Tomato. You effed up with that. Damn. I love how many people love my mama here.
Did she hop on panel yesterday? Did Texas Bully Mom ever make her way up here?
No, she said she does not do panels, and that's okay. But
she's got a lot of opinions, a lot of strong opinions in chat. I know.
Well,
I've seen
and it is her right to do so, and I especially love that she has opinions followed by money. And Andrew, if you're not aware, I think you watched the show yesterday. We do allow people to get booted. $100 is a full boot for the evening. Doc, you have 2 minutes, sir, to either plead your case or utilize that 2 minutes to say whatever it is you would like to say, sir.
All right. So if you've seen the movie Frozen, you guys may know how this one goes. So join me if you know this. All my life has been a series of doors in my face.
Oh my God.
I was thinking the same thing because, like, I've been searching my whole life to find my own place. And so this is what I want to say is that no spoilers, but it's possibly that Princess Anna at this time was learning what it is like to conduct politics and to meet unscrupulous male figures who have a patriarchal leadership structure. And so when people minimize what it actually means to say that I hate immigrants, or they refuse to admit that they hate immigrants, they just endorse violence against them. And they don't believe that people that oppose violence should have civil rights, people like me. We should embrace this heroic story where we can have dialogues. The Raging Tomato is a place to do that. You guys are in good hands with Effigy. Calvin apparently lost his ball sack overnight. And so I think you should save me because I think we should have at least 2 left-leaning voices. I'm a progressive Democrat. You guys know I have conservative tendencies. And so you guys should pool some money, oppose Jason Reeves in this decision. And I think justice requires the conversation we're going to have tonight. It also requires change out there. It requires that we don't selectively nitpick on issues, but we look at a failing federal agency like ICE. We look at a failing federal agency as a result of the Trump administration. My local office in Maricopa, the sheriff said he would have to arrest ICE agents if they broke the law. Sheriffs don't normally do that. We're not seeing this rhetoric with the DEA, with the ATF, or with the FBI. And so why is it the case that only ICE is failing? Why is it the case that only now Americans are pearl clutching and outraged at immigrant behavior? It's because it's based on hatred, and it's because it's based on an evil prince's evil plan, and you guys are not being Princess Anna. You guys are being an evil prince, and we know that's not the plot of Frozen.
Bye, Duck.
That was
For more
absolutely
Disney
Zero.
cartoon wisdom, go ahead and just put your nuts in a vice and clamp that fucker all the way down.
I mean, Duck
Oh
wants
my
us to have
I
God.
don't
no
need more
decisions.
tests. I
The
don't
government should
need a
just
test
take
kit.
over everything for us.
And in the meantime,
Maybe.
Duck, I'm going to go ahead and tuck you backstage. If anybody would like to save Duck, now's your time to do so. You would have to pay a full hundo to hope that Duck survives. And Mr. Andrew is going to be leaving us for the evening. It's midnight. He's checking out. Andrew, please feel free to take a moment to tell everyone where they can find you if you have a channel and anything about yourself.
Well, I appreciate that. Yeah, my name's Andrew. I got a couple of channels. One's called Popcorn and Whiskey. Don't do too much of that when I go live streaming on Saturday night, Tuesday. I go on that one. But my main channel is I work in the fitness over 50 crowd. If you're over 50 years old, check it out. Top Fitness Strategy is one of those kind of things. Loved being here. I hope I can come back again sometime. You guys have been fantastic. Some of the times I felt like my testosterone was in question when somebody talking about Frozen, really? Okay, whatever. Yeah, one of those kind of things. You can call me a simp all you want for thinking Sarah's gorgeous, but she is. But at least I'm not quoting Frozen on a panel of guys.
Andrew, glad you came up tonight, man.
Thanks a lot,
Yes,
everybody.
thank you so much. We do open panels for sure, definitely every Monday and Thursday night. And then if I host a debate, there's always an open panel after that on the topic.
Oh, and Sarah, don't forget the Sleepy Tomato on Wednesdays.
Sleepy Tomato Wednesdays, but those are not paneled. But if you're simping, you can just come sit and listen to me talk and look at me on the screen. So it works out either way. Andrew, it's been an absolute delight. Thank you for joining, and I'm glad you were able to pop your cherry here. And we can definitely whore you out to many other panels. Definitely
Fantastic.
join Discord. That's where you'll find a lot of them there.
Fantastic. Thank you, everybody. Ciao.
Thank you. Have a wonderful evening, Andrew. Logics, are you leaving? Sorry. Iotin said, have a nice night, Andrew, and good job, sir. Sorry, Iotin, I missed that in time. He just left, but I'm sure he'll see this after the fact.
Sarah, you got to start advertising Sleepy Tomato so it gets monetized.
I want Sleepy to do its own thing. I don't necessarily want panel and debate people to come watch me on Sleepy. And Logix, are you leaving now, sir?
Yeah. I'm gonna call it.
All right. Well, I will actually give you the opportunity just the same to say whatever you'd like to say.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Thank you for tagging me, giving me the heads up for this. It was fun. I enjoyed it. Everybody I debate with and insulted. I appreciate it. It's nothing personal. I love the conversation. You know, it's nothing personal at all. I hit up some people in the chat. I want to have some panels and, you know, talk to people with different opinions. I don't want to be just talking to people that agree with me all the time. So add me on Discord, join my Discord. Ill Logics on YouTube. I'm a left-leaning content creator. Do a lot of science denial coverage, debunking, political content, social commentary. Thank you, Sarah, again.
Absolutely. I'm glad you heeded the call because I was like, I need to make sure my lefties know what's going on, and I think I'm gonna.
Logic, drop your link in the chat, and I'll follow you.
He's in Discord.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah, I'm in the Discord. I'll pop in there real quick.
Okay, appreciate you, man.
Yeah. And if you want those little calls a little further, I could keep doing those. I don't want to bother people either, but if you want those, I will definitely ensure I tag you on when it's righty on screen.
Thank you.
But thank you, Logix. And we'll catch you around next time.
Gotcha.
Testicle Johnson comes in with a big.
All right, y'all.